Okay, right. Here I am. Hi. Let me just check everything's working and you can actually see me okay. All right, let me just check in the group. Started a couple of minutes late. I'm sorry about that. But it will be worth it. So I'm just checking in the group that my feed is happening and I seem to be sideways, which isn't great. So just give me 1 second to fix that and I will be back. 1 second. Let me just adjust my phone. I was hoping, guys, it was going to let me do it sideways, but apparently it's not. So just give me a quick second to rotate my phone. 1 second. There we go. Yay. So I was hoping it was going to let me do this, sideways so that you could see a bit more of me, but apparently not. So never mind. Okay, let me sort this out. Very polished start. So I hope everyone can see me and hear me okay. I'm just, because I know I've started a couple of minutes late, so I'm just gonna ramble aimlessly just for a couple of minutes, just while we let other people come on live. I know a lot of people have messaged me to say they really want to get on live. Hi, Lindsay. Hi. So I'm just gonna do a bit of timekeeping and stuff just while we wait for other people to come on. I can see people are coming on now. Hi, Pixie. So that's awesome. It's always really nice to do these things with a nice kind of live audience, and then we can do lots of questions and stuff. So I am gonna hang around after I've sort of delivered what I have to say, and then any questions you have for me, I will be answering. Occasionally you may see me just sort of just look out of focus. I've actually prepared and made notes because there's loads of stuff I want to tell you today and I don't want to forget anything. So I will occasionally, forgive me, just be glancing at my notes that I've made, just to make sure we cover everything. Hi, Dynamite. Hi, Belle. Hi, Olivia. Hi, Tequila. Nice to have you here. We will be getting going anytime now. I can see that people are jumping on all the time, so I'm just waiting for everyone who wants to be on live to just jump on and be ready, and then we are going for it. And I do want to let you know, you guys, that at the sort of towards the end of this video, I've got a really exciting opportunity to share with you, which is very much branding related. So if you've come onto this training today really fired up to really get stuck in with branding and make a difference to what you're doing, you are going to be excited. So I'm looking forward to telling you. And there will be a bonus for the people who have actually showed up live tonight. And all will be revealed. So, hi Claire, hi Ruby. Okay, so while we just wait for everyone to come in, for any of you, who maybe you haven't been on one of my trainings before, or you've just heard my name bandied around, and you don't know like a whole lot about me, I'm just going to take a minute, literally a minute, to just refresh, on who I actually am. So my name is Holly Mae Johnson. I've been involved deep in the burlesque scene for the last 14 years. I came on the scene back in the Teaserama days, when all we had was a Yahoo group to communicate with each other across the world. It was a great time. And since then, the magazine 21st Century Burlesque, which I founded around that time, has been going. We're now in our 12th year this year. And we cater to an audience of about 2 million. So things have really, come on for us. And at the same time as that, I've been a professional digital marketer for the past 12 years. So it makes sense that as well as documenting performers, I actually help performers to market and brand themselves and promote themselves, sell their services, get more bookings. So it's a really nice kind of dual thing purpose for me, where, I run the magazine and at the same time I can actually be useful in a really practical way to support performers. And I do that through things in this group, free trainings and resources. I also do courses, and I also have one-to-one private clients. So for the people who really want that kind of one-to-one hand-holding support, I do one-to-one coaching at certain times of the year as well. Awesome. People joining us. Hi Claire, hi Nina, hi Rebecca. Louise is watching. Lady Serene is watching. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, let's get down to it. Here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready? So, I want to talk about branding today. I think branding is the thing that I'm asked about more than anything else. Anything else. And a lot of the questions that people give me always come down to a question of branding and the way people market themselves as well. So I really wanted to come on and do a big juicy training about this. So as promised, I am going to cover today the 3 essential factors, the trio of factors that make people follow you and buy, book, and show up. Okay, the big mistake, the big just way of thinking that most performers make on social media, and what you should be doing instead, what you should be focusing on instead. So I'm going to cover that. And just generally why a strong personal brand is so important for long-term success, and how to start building one right now. So that's what we're going to cover today. And for those of you who've just joined us, I do have a really special opportunity, a branding related opportunity to drop in at the end of this. And for the people who are on live, there's going to be an extra special bonus as well. So stay tuned for that. And at the very end, I will take your questions. So if you have a question or a question pops into your mind during this training, just hold on till the end there and I will answer all the questions. Okie dokie. Here we go. Hi, Rebecca. Hi, Lindsay. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, here we go. So, little overview. When, I came on the scene in burlesque, 14 years ago, there were far less performers in circulation. Like I said, we just had this Yahoo group, and basically anyone who was anyone in burlesque was on that group. There were far less shows. There were a handful of what we would consider festivals now. Everyone knew each other and called on each other and networked with each other. It was just a simpler time in a lot of ways. We weren't even really using Facebook, for the first few years. And now there are tens of thousands of us, tens of thousands of performers and people involved in our scene. And you have to work that much harder now to stand out and be an individual that people actually remember. The scene is full of, when I look at feeds online and all these profiles, there are just cookie cutter performers, and all the feeds, a lot of the feeds just kind of merge into one, and you can't really distinguish one performer from another. A lot of performers, I think when they come into the scene, they kind of look at what they think is working. They kind of think, oh wow, okay, so there are the kind of really classic polished looking girls with this color hair and they're wearing these kind of costumes, and that's what I have to emulate if it's going to work. Or they find someone that they admire, maybe they're more of an alternative performer, and they find someone who they really vibe with and they're like, I want to emulate that. But the problem is that everyone just kind of ends up looking like everyone else. And that's kind of where we've got to. We've just reached peak saturation, and it's that you have to work hard at actually, standing out and actually be putting thought into what you're doing. And I mean, obviously you have to kill it on stage. I mean, whatever I teach you here or elsewhere, it's not going to work unless you are killing it on stage, unless you are doing everything you can to, keep your skills sharp, to develop yourself and your performance. There's nothing I can do for you if you're not killing it on stage and doing everything you can to kill it on stage. But assuming that's happened and that's a given, how do you get new fans to buy tickets and come and see you regularly, producers to book you, students to sign up if you're a teacher, and your peers to actually respect and network with you? That is the key. Now, when we think about branding, we've got these kind of preconceived notions about what branding actually means. Some people think that means, I have to get a logo, or I have to have a particular color scheme on my website, or it means, it's being an influencer, whatever that means. Or having loads of followers. Brands have these loads of followers and they're really influential, and that's what, branding supposedly is. But in fact, it's more about, consciously and thoughtfully telling the story of who you are, what you stand for, and what you actually have to offer to your fans, producers, peers, and students that you're trying to attract. And this sounds like a bit kind of creepy or manipulative, but it's about implanting, in a very organic, natural way, thoughts and feelings in the people, who watch and listen to you, that you can exercise control over how you are perceived and valued. That's the thing. We're not just kind of being present and just throwing spaghetti at the wall. We're actually, putting thought into controlling the way people see us and putting thought into what we put out there about ourselves. That's not to say, however, that you can magically make everyone who comes across you love you. That's never going to happen. There are always going to be people who just don't vibe with you, don't get you, but that's okay, because one of the really important things about successful branding is that you want to be polarizing. Okay, polarizing, so you only attract the people that are really going to relate to who you are and take action. We don't want this kind of just mild following that doesn't really connect with you and actually take action. It's okay to have people who, downright don't like you, or don't like your style or what you do. And that's okay. We have to learn to be comfortable with that being okay, and focusing our energy on the people who are going to get us and relate to us and actually, show up to shows, book us, and so on and so forth. And it's not, the important thing, and I'm going to come back to this later, is it's not really just about you. Being a successful brand is also knowing about who you're trying to attract intimately, knowing them intimately, their motivations, their concerns, and targeting them specifically. All right. So, it's about things like your tone of voice, the way you respond to questions and comments and occasional challenges from people, the way you communicate in person and how available you make yourself, when you show up to a venue, when you leave, how you support your peers, how you connect with fans, your overall message and philosophy behind what you do, your iconic, unmistakable presence, and your personality and your aesthetic. And this is what we want to start being very conscious about. Does that make sense, guys? I'm just going to pause for breath there. Is it making sense? Can you all hear me clearly? Am I speaking too fast? Let me know. That's kind of my branding 101 overview. Hi, Laurie. Hi, Aria. All right. I'm gonna assume no one's shouting at me that I'm inaudible or rambling too fast, so I'm gonna keep going. So, as I've said, there's no point in marketing to like anyone you can get to listen to you or follow you if they don't connect with you. Okay, for example, like, why are you going to shout about your shows and spend time marketing to just anyone anywhere? If you just kind of predominantly perform in Texas, like, what's the point in you just, trying to market to people all over the world, or target your ads to people globally, or just sort of hashtag really generally to get people to like and follow you, but they're never actually going to get their asses to Texas and buy tickets and sit in a seat and come and see you. So what would be the point in that? Or for example, why spam every producer you've ever heard of, when actually you're really suited to a more kind of high-end supper club producer, or you're more suited to one of these intimate underground cabaret venues? Why would you be spending your time, just spamming every producer you can think of, when actually you should be focusing on, that particular producer that's going to really buy into what you have to offer and sit up and take notice? It's about, being conscious about a brand and running a business, running a professional career is about how we spend our time and energy, and how we focus that time and energy, and avoiding wasting time trying to attract the people that are never going to bite. You know what I mean? And what a lot of performers and other burlesque industry creators, often really miss is the importance of truly connecting with and converting. Okay, I'm going to come back to this phrase, converting, a lot. Converting your following and making sure that, the following is made up of your ideal audience, fans and producers and customers. The thing that I always get asked by performers is, how do I increase my following? How do I get more likes? How do I get more follows? So-and-so's Instagram has way more followers than me. That's what I need to do. Followers. And I always make the point that, try and get your head around this, that you could have 1 million followers, right? Say you had 1 million followers on like Instagram, okay? But they never commented. They never got in touch with you. They never bought tickets. They never signed up for a class. They never booked you for anything. They're just kind of in that passive, we all have accounts that we follow. We kind of like, it's a cute feed or whatever. And if we see a picture in our feed, we kind of like it. But that's the extent of our engagement. We're not really, following them in their stories. We're not actually taking the time to comment or respond. They're not touching us in a way that makes us actually get in touch with them. Whereas on the other hand, you could have 100 followers. Say you just had 100 followers. But all of those 100 followers who just hung off your every word, were commenting and interacting with you every day, and they were actually buying or showing up or booking. It's that 100 followers that are completely switched on and engaged are infinitely more valuable than having 1 million followers who, you know, do nothing beyond, you know, like a pretty picture now and then. Honestly, like if you can get your head around that, you're going to lose so much of your angst and insecurity about growing a following and having 1 million followers. You know, because there are performers out there who have these massive followings, and they're not really converting those followings in any real way. So, you know, this is something to just get your head around straight away. You know, shout me a like there if that makes sense to you and it's something that, you know, worries you or you stress out about. You know, I'm giving you permission not to stress about it anymore and to actually spend your time focusing on the people who already follow you, you know, and really cultivating a relationship with them. That's what I would like to encourage you to do today, if nothing else. You know, a burlesque business, as I've said, it needs followers to actually take action. If what you are saying to them and what you're posting isn't making people go, shit, I need to buy a ticket for that show right now, that sounds absolutely unmissable, or oh my god, this performer's amazing, I have to have them in my show or my festival next month, you know, or whatever it is, you know, if they're not actually fired up and like ready to take action and actually do something, then you're missing a massive trick. You know what I mean? You know, your presence in person and online, it tells a story about, you know, your personal brand. It takes people on this journey, and that's what everything should do, you know, online and in person. Every time someone interacts with you, it should be like a consistent experience. You know what I mean? Any way to increase your sound volume? Raven, oh, am I quiet? I'm right up next to my phone speaker. Let me just try and... hang on, just give me a sec, guys. I'm just adjusting it so that my speaker sticks out a bit more. All right. I'll just try and speak a bit louder. I'll just speak a bit louder. Okay. So, you know, if someone sees you perform at a show, so let's think about this. If someone sees you perform at a show and they were impressed enough to look you up on social media after that show, what is their impression of you going to be? You know, what is their impression going to be when they see that kind of first 9 on your feed? You know, what is their impression going to be? Will they follow you? Are they going to come and see you again? Okay, this is what we... Oh, did it help when I moved? Oh, okay, hang on. If I moved it, hang on. Let me move it again. Right, okay. Hopefully that's better. All right, so yeah. You know, you want that kind of return. You know, you want people to, you know, wherever they end up finding you, wherever they go and look for you, they immediately have that connection, you know, and what they, you know, they appreciated about you on stage, you know, makes them actually connect and follow you long term, and you can build a relationship with them. Similarly, if a producer gets a tip about you or receives your application and decides to sort of check you out a bit more online or check your current reach, and I'm sorry to say this, guys, but it's becoming a far more common consideration. I was just reading an article about a UK production that was auditioning people last week, and they asked every candidate, you know, what their current reach and following was. And it's sad to say it, but this is becoming more and more of a factor that people consider. They want to know that they have a performer on board who is going to help them market and promote that show, especially, you know, small developing shows, small teams, small businesses. So, you know, this is becoming more of a factor. You know, what impression are they going to get about your professionalism, your conduct, the way you currently promote and support shows that you're involved with, you know, and your engagement with fans and ticket buyers? You know, they're going to be looking at all that stuff. So ask yourself, what would, you know, a potential audience member or a long-term fan or a producer see and decide if they looked at your feed right now? You know, to cultivate this long-term fan base that comes to every show, students who queue around the block to get in a class with you, producers who come to you time and time again. You know, there are 3 essential factors that you need to have in place, okay? So these are your 3 essential factors. Now, some of you may have heard this expression before. It's called the know, like, and trust factor, okay? You have to have all 3 of these in place. People need to feel that they know you, they need to like you, and they need to trust you. And when all of those 3 things are in place, that is when they will take action, you know. And if one of these is missing, the circuit really breaks. So for example, you know, if they know you but they don't like you, you know, they might know you, they get a sense of who you are, but they don't like you, or they don't sort of warm to you or feel they can relate to you, that trust factor, that connection will not grow. Similarly, if they like you on first impression, you know, they kind of see all the pictures are cute and, you know, this is all nice, but they don't really know anything about you, you like beyond the pictures, they're not learning anything about who you are or what you stand for, then they're not going to relate to you and grow to trust you. And similarly, if they trust you, because of your reputation or your obvious expertise or experience, but they don't warm to you as a human being that they can like relate to and want to support, or they can't imagine you in their current cast and find a fit for you, they're not going to take the time to get to know you as well. They're not going to hang around to do that. Does that make sense? So, you've got to try and cultivate this sort of triple threat, know, like, and trust factor, because if one of those is missing, you're going to kind of lose the opportunity to connect with somebody. So the big mistake that most performers make, and this is just huge, and it kind of tends to blow people's minds sometimes when you mention it, and it's kind of an obvious thing, but easy to overlook, is that they overlook what their would-be followers, and all of us, when we're, interacting online, subconsciously think when we visit someone on social media. And that essentially is, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? We're not literally there with our phone going, what's in it for me? What am I getting out of this profile? But subconsciously, we are thinking this, what's in it for me? Why should I follow this person? If you're not like entertaining or educating or building a community through your online presence, or indeed the actions you take in person when you interact with people, you're not going to create these engaged followers who actually take action and build that know, like, and trust factor. Major truth bomb here, it's not about you. It's not about you. If you can get that into your head, like, it's not about me. It's actually about them. Even though we're posting about ourselves, obviously, and, letting people into our world, it's not really about us. It's about them and what they get from following us. Do they feel inspired? Do they feel uplifted? Do they feel entertained? Do you make them laugh? Do you teach them something that they can apply to their life or their profession? Are you giving them a chance to sort of get to know other people in their area and, build some sense of community, Are you doing these things? This is what's, really key. Because if you're, I see so many profiles where the performers are just kind of posting pictures themselves and they're talking about, what they did today or how they feel and all this kind of thing without any kind of real takeaway or any kind of, message or, encouraging that action-taking response or putting a particular kind of thought or feeling, emotively in the person reading it, then they're kind of missing a trick. I see it so often. And we really need to be consciously thinking about every time you post, what is in it for my follower? What is what I'm about to post offering my follower? What is it telling them about me? That's more constructive than just, what I got up to today or how I feel this morning. Is it going to entertain them? Is it going to educate them? Is it going to inspire them? Is it going to make them feel part of a community? Is it going to make them feel included and valued? You've got to start thinking about these things. And I, in my, my branding courses, and I'm going to be telling you about one of these courses coming up in a minute, but we go through these key content types. There are kind of key proven content types that you should use to communicate with your followers, and how to actually create that content, because that's kind of the next step. It's all very well knowing them, obviously like educational type posts, entertainment type posts, community type building posts, but actually creating those posts is kind of the next step. And that's what I kind of get into with my students. But some general tips for now that I want to give you. One thing is, don't think that education posts are only for teachers. A lot of people say, oh, well, I can't really do like educational type posts because I'm not a teacher and I'm not trying to get students. Kind of missing a trick there, because if you have a special skill, say, you're really good at costuming or making pasties, or there's something in particular that you've got a really good skill that you can break down into sort of little tips over time for your peers, then by all means share that. If you have, say your main kind of audience following tends to be kind of quite insecure female audience members and fans, you could teach them confidence tips. You could teach them like a sexy move a week to kind of weave into their daily life or do for their partner. You could teach them things about posture. You could teach them things about presence. There are all sorts of things that, you as a performer are looked to. To provide or inspire in people. So, you don't have to just be a teacher to do educational posts that make you useful, that make people come back. It's also really good if you can do these things in a memorable and recurring way. So maybe you have like a Tease Tuesday or a Tease Tip Tuesday or, Wisdom Wednesday or something regular that people can kind of cotton onto and they come back for it. Like, I know people I follow in other scenes. I know that they do things on particular days, or they do things in their stories every week, and I will, you know, almost go and seek that out because I know it's coming, and it builds anticipation. It's something I look forward to, and I become, in a positive way, dependent on what they're giving me, and it really keeps that relationship going. So that's something to think about. You know, one really good example of almost like a combination between entertainment value and sort of ironic education is Matt Finish, the burlesque performer Matt Finish, who does his kind of sarcastic, helpful performer tips, which kind of cross this education and humor line, where he's kind of highlighting, you know, really sort of deal-breaking or cringy things that performers do, but in a really humorous way. So he's providing humor and entertainment, but also, you know, subtly actually educating performers on better ways to do things. So that's something really memorable he's become known for. I'd go and check out his feeds. It's just hilarious and just so relatable. You know, so, you know, check that out. That's a really good example. You need to make yourself of value to people, and don't forget that gimmick. Yeah, you know, you got to get a gimmick, guys. It really does help. So that's something to, you know, consider. And it's the same with, you know, any kind of entertainment value type posts. You know, try and have like some sort of recurring motif in the images you post, or some, you know, if you've got a particular part of your body or a feature of your performance that you're really well known for, that's really distinctive, you know, just milk that, make a thing of that, make it something that you highlight or showcase in a amusing or entertaining or inspiring way every week, you know, and just build up that kind of consistency and like memorable kind of recurring feature. Those would be my main kind of, you know, initial tips for you on the kind of content that you cultivate. So here's an exercise for you guys, right? If you can, you know, if you've got a little pen or a paper, maybe you're making notes already and you've got some paper, or if you haven't and you're sort of on the move somewhere, just think about what I'm about to say to you, right? Here's an exercise, and this is going to help you think about sort of how brand aware you really are at the moment. You might not have put a lot of thought into how brand aware you are, but this is a really good way of just brutally breaking it down and seeing how you feel, okay? This is either going to be something you do really easily, or it's going to be something that challenges you. So here we go. You ready? I'm going to give you a second if you want to just grab a pen or a piece of paper. I'm just having my ginger root tea. My nutritionist, Minnie Tonka, makes me drink ginger root tea every day. That's very nice. Kira, I see your question. I will come to it. I promise. Although, you know, hopefully some of those initial tips were helpful. Pixie, yeah, you got your pen and paper from the start. Good, good. So I hope there are lots of notes being made. Awesome. Okay, so here we go, right? Take these things one at a time. Just consider them, okay? If I asked you to sum up your performer persona, who you are, in 3 specific words, could you do that right now? Like if I just, you know, while I'm just rambling here, think about it. Could you sum yourself up in 3 specific words? So obviously we're not talking about things like awesome, amazing, you know, specific words. You know, like provocative, challenging, you know, visceral, you know, whatever it is, really specific words. And if you've got your words, could you, you know, this is for people who've already kind of gone, yeah, nailed it, I've got my 3 words. Could you break them down even further into how you specifically do it? So, for example, if you've said, I'm hilarious, I'm a comedic performer. Well, in what specific way are you comedic that makes you distinctive? You know, there are all sorts of different types of humor. There's, you know, slapstick humor, there's kind of dark comedy, there's, you know, sort of more satirical stuff. You know, how do you embody that humor in a way that other people don't, or in a way that makes you distinctive or specialist? So you've got 2 things to do. You're either thinking about your 3 words, really summing yourself up in specific words, or you're breaking it down another step for me. So see how that feels. And then here's the next step. If I asked 5 people about you, say I just went up to 5 people, be they, you know, actual people involved in the scene or people who've watched you, or a producer, and I said to them, could you sum up that performer? Like, how would you sum up that performer in, you know, like 3 words? You know, what comes to mind when I ask you about that performer? Now, would they say the same thing? That's what you've got to ask yourself. And I encourage you to go away and actually do this. and just sort of sample people and ask them to sum you up in that way and see how many inconsistencies you end up with. This is something I do a lot with my students, is to actually get them to almost market research themselves and look at what they have, used to describe themselves and what other people have used to describe themselves, and see, are people just naming all sorts of random different things, or are there kind of consistent themes, consistent qualities that people are picking up about you? And if they are consistent, but they don't, jive with what you've said about yourself, then maybe you need to say to yourself, I'm clearly coming across in a really different way to the way I think I do or the way I intend. And I should start listening to, how I'm coming across, be it sort of desirable or undesirable. So, think to yourself, would I get consistent feedback if I sampled, I asked, say, 5 people about you? I'm just going to give you a second. Someone's messaged me to say, I'm still writing. But it's food for thought. It's kind of branding 101. If you can't sum yourself up that succinctly, then there's some more thinking to do. Just going to give you a minute. Oh, Rebecca, notes app on the phone. Organised. Hello. Whatever works for you. I'm a bit of a kind of, analog girl. I still like to have my kind of pen and paper out and make all my lists and my notes. I have just endless sort of books and day books and calendars and schedules and lists to keep my life organised. I'm also a kind of stationery fetishist, so that's probably why. It's not so much wanting to be organised, it's just wanting to have loads of really nice stationery. All right. Okay, here's the next question. If I met you at a mixer or a networking event or after a show, and I said to you, so what do you do? Could you answer me with one succinct sentence that tells me all I need to know about you? My name is Trixie Bond Flufflebow, and I, etc. Could you sum yourself up, tell me everything I need to know about you in one succinct sentence? Claire Bagnall says, I'm on page 3 of note-taking and my pen's running dry already. Oh, God. I'm sorry. Hope there's a backup pen there somewhere. My cat likes to knock my pens off my table and chase them around under the sofa. So whenever I kind of reach around, I'm like, oh, I need a pen. They're never there. Never there. I have to go and, scoop them all out from under the sofa. Ruby says, same. I love stationery and pens. I know. I just have endless. I actually have just bags and shelves full of, beautiful journals that I can't bring myself to write in, that I just keep buying. It's sad. Celeste, elevator pitch. Yes, exactly. Could you elevator pitch yourself? Are you that sure of who you are and your style and what you offer and what your message is that you could just hit someone with it in a sentence, with a quick opportunity to meet someone new? Could you do that? All right, now here's the next step, and don't worry, I will give you time if you're still writing, but just give it some thought. If I asked you to sum up your ideal fan or producer or student or peer that you want to connect with and convert... I don't know that one. Oh, Alexa decided to join in.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
She's not sure. Yeah, if I asked you to sum up your ideal fan or producer or student or peer that you are trying to attract and convert, could you sum them up in 3 words or phrases? 3 key words or phrases. Could you do that? Could you tell me, what keeps them up at night? What kind of just presses on their mind? What their motivations are, what their interests are. Would you be able to tell me that? Would you be able to tell me what they're looking for? Do you have that intimate and understanding? Could you sum them up in the way you sum up yourself? And here's the next step. Could you tell me, if I gave you, sometimes I like to give my students or my clients a worksheet with thought bubbles and speech bubbles, because I like them to imagine, the key thought or feeling that you want them to have when they look at your post or they meet you in person. Could you imagine a specific thought in their words that would pop into their head when they interact with you or when they see you online or on stage or in person? Have you put thought into the specific thought or feeling you want them to have about you? Are you conscious of what kind of thoughts and feelings you actually inspire? So let me run through those things again, okay? In case you're like, I'm scribbling, stop talking, Holly. All right, so Can you sum up your performer persona in 3 succinct words, specific words, no kind of general, vague, awesome, wow words, just specific words? If I asked, say, 5 people about you, and I asked them to sum you up in the same way, would they say the same thing? Would they consistently come up with the same things about you? And then I said, if I met you at a mixer and I said, hey, what do you do? Could you respond with a succinct sentence, an elevator pitch, if you will, that tells me all I need to know about you? And then I said, if I asked you to sum up your ideal fan, producer, or student, or peer, or whoever it is you're trying to target, and attract, could you sum them up in 3 succinct words or phrases? Could you do that? Do you have enough of an understanding of what, actually keeps them up at night, what their pain points, as we call them, are, what their motivations are, what they're actually looking for? Would you know that? Because, for example, audience members are quite different. There are some types of audience member who are essentially looking for escapism. Maybe they just work all day long, all day, all night, and they've got this one chance, maybe once a month or something, to go to a show and just forget about all the other shit they're dealing with in their life, or whatever's going on at home, whatever's going on at work. There are other people who, have a lot of money to go around. They like going out all the time. They go to museum exhibits, they go to exhibitions, they go to concerts. They're really kind of cultural, and they're seeing all these different things, but they're kind of a bit harder to impress. They're looking for something that's going to get them on the edge of their seat, that's going to challenge them, that's going to provoke them in some way. Okay, they're kind of more jaded. They're looking for someone to kind of unsettle them or disturb them a little bit. Maybe that's the difference. Or maybe, like we said before, maybe they're, and it's not always the case, but maybe they're, a slightly older lady, who's kind of lost a bit of her mojo. She's lost a bit of her self-confidence, a bit of her sensuality, and she goes to shows to see women up on stage who look like she does, that she can relate to, that she can be inspired and uplifted by, and maybe the thought in her head is, oh my God, like if that girl can be up there doing that, maybe I could do it too. And can you see what that kind of thought in someone's head could lead to? In terms of, maybe you could be offering them a kind of self-confidence kind of class, and you're kind of building that relationship and taking them towards that action. Or, they're going to keep coming to see you at shows because you keep giving them that joy moment, that payoff, that inspiration. Think about how you could be connecting with them and making time for them after the shows as well. All of these little thoughts and little things that we kind of put into people's minds lead to whatever we kind of, whatever pathway we set up and dictate. So, how are we doing? Does anyone want to share their 3 words that they've come up with for themselves? I love hearing the 3 words. If anyone's brave, wants to shoot me their 3 words, please do so in the comments. I would love to see. Or are we still scribbling? Maybe still scribbling. Just gonna check my connection. Yeah. Okay, Adele says, glamorous, sensual, Frenchy. Frenchy, what does Frenchy mean? Break that down for me. I think that one needs a kind of breakdown. But I like it. Raven, innovative, artistic, dark. Dark. So if you were going to do the next breakdown step, how would you break down dark? In what way do you embody darkness? I would love to know. Pixie, geek, pint-sized, trickster. Trickster, I love that. So that almost like you have this kind of unpredictable, mischievous quality about you. I love that. Pint size. So that's interesting. So you're a kind of dinky, petite performer. How do you play on that? Like, what does that kind of say about you? How do you play with the fact that you're petite? Do you kind of play on that with your acts? How do you kind of make that a thing? Rebecca, sensual, confrontational, controlled. Oh, that's interesting. So do you mean controlled as in, you really take like moments of stillness and power on stage, for example? Or is it the way, you're very composed when you sort of go about your business? Adele, the French girl. Oh, I see. Yeah. So very Parisienne, very French, joie de vivre. Yeah, I get it. Mina Murray, classic, elegant, sophisticated. Again, classic is one I hear a lot, Mina, and it would be great, and maybe you've done this already, to kind of break down what is it about the classic style that you particularly embody? How are you making that distinctive and making that your own. I would love to know, but I love elegance. You know, how do you kind of portray elegance? Raven, yes, psychologically challenging, yes. Okay, so you're getting people unsettled. You're making them uncomfortable. You're making them, you know, sort of get sensory arousal. Yeah, I love that. Lauren, glamorous, sultry, femme fatale. Love it. So how does your femme fatale persona communicate? How would you bring across your femme fatale persona online, perhaps, in your content? Livia, fearless, glamorous, political. Again, that's interesting. So in what ways are you political? You sound like, you know, you're going to be someone with an overarching strong message, and people are going to follow you because they really are in tune with that message. Dynamite, raunchy stripper, comedy, theatrical fun, surprises. I love that. So, you know, people are going to come and see you and they're never quite sure what you're going to do next or what the punchline's going to be, and that's really exciting. Annabelle, ethereal, fatale, timeless. Timeless is an interesting one. So think about the breakdown there. How are you going to get across that timeless quality about you, like aesthetically, you know, and psychologically? That would interest me. Rebecca, controlled, yes, exactly what you said. Oh, hang on, my comments are going too fast. My movements are very slow and precise, and I embrace stillness. Exactly, perfect. And I imagine that you'd use images that really kind of, you know, get that across. It's tequila, theatrical, moody, sultry. Moody is interesting because moody can kind of be played different ways. Could you break down moody? You know, because I think moody sort of has an immediate, like, slightly negative connotation. It would be interesting to know how that plays out for you. Lady Serini, sensual, dynamic, professional. Again, professional, break it down. How are you professional? In what ways? Do you show up early for shows to help out? Are you the last one to leave? You know, what is it that makes you professional? And how would you get that across, you know, online and in person? Belle, cheeky, silly, and vulnerable. Vulnerable's interesting. You know, people really respond to vulnerability and that kind of personal touch and authenticity. So that can be very powerful. May de la Rue, social, Hollywood glamour, million watts. So I'm just imagining this big, like, megawatt smile, the kind of big hair, you know, I can see it. I can see it. Ruby Champagne, cute, usually always about my smile. Tiny powerhouse. People don't realize I'm petite until they see me. Yeah, and there's a kind of power in that. And, you know, I can imagine you talking to other kind of petite women who maybe feel a bit kind of overlooked or underestimated, and you could sort of have that messaging for them. You know, that, you know, well, great things come in small packages and you can still be powerful and you can still be influential. So there's an interesting avenue there for you, Ruby. Celeste, timeless, dancer, nostalgic. So you create this nostalgia. Now, again, could you break that down? Any particular realm of nostalgia? You know, that would be interesting to think about. Mina, salsera, saucy, minx. Again, what makes you minxy? You know, what is it that makes you minxy and interesting? You know, how is the sauciness? Because, you know, how do you kind of interpret that sauciness? Is it with kind of really bawdy humor? What kind? How do you kind of perform that? I'd love to know. Kira, sassy, sexually powerful, punk rock, glamorous. Love it. So you're kind of like a rock star of burlesque. I mean, I can just picture that aesthetically being really strong. But also I'd like the idea that there's a philosophy behind that, like a punk rock philosophy that you share with your followers. Nicola, glamour, old Hollywood, ass. I don't say ass like you Americans, ass. Ass. It doesn't sound quite as cool as ass when I say it. But yes, awesome. So yeah, your butt is clearly your big feature, and you need to play it to its full advantage, I would say. You could even, you know, do some sort of ass care tips, perhaps for your followers who want to have a peachy behind like you. Tequila, moody, switching from fun, upbeat to dark, sultry, sensual to just campy. Okay, so again, that kind of like unpredictable quality about you. And I think that can be good and it can keep an audience on their toes, but you don't want to dilute your branding too much. So you want to have some kind of consistent thing people can like latch onto about you without being too like, in this picture I'm happy, in this picture I'm sad, in this picture I'm crazy. You know, you need to kind of find a way to marry all that together, and that the unpredictability of you is the common thing, you know. Sally, coy, transformative, zany. Transformative, that's interesting. So does that mean like you provide your audience with a transformational experience, or your students, or, you know, that would be one to break down. Misty Lotus, hi Misty. Spicy, mystical, powerful. I love that. And I know that, you know, from working with you, that you're a very like evocative performer. You have a very like powerful, evocative presence. And that really does come across, you know, when I follow you. Sally, yes, absolutely. I understand. So that, that's something really powerful. If you're someone who provokes transformation in people, Sally, there's a lot you can do to market that. Annabelle, could timeless be better described as versatile or multifaceted? Yes, possibly. I mean, when we think of timeless, it's someone who adapts with the times, almost like in a Madonna-like way where, whatever era comes, she kind of defines it and makes it her own, and she never becomes dated or, left behind. So yeah, there's definitely that quality to it, Annabelle. I'm loving that you're all sharing. I love hearing these words. All right, let's take it to another step. So who can give me their elevator pitch? Who can give me their one-liner? If I said, hey, so what do you do? Like I just met you at a mixer or after a show. Someone give me their elevator pitch, if you're brave. Amelia, versatile, captivating, physical. Again, break down, physical. What does that mean? How does that translate? Anyone got an elevator pitch for me that just nails it? I would love to hear. Or if you're not sure, if you've worked on your one-liner, but you want some feedback on it, shoot it to me. I would love to hear. Bring it on, bring it on. May says, cheesecake pinup style burlesque with a cheeky twist to boot. Love it. Because that kind of makes me want to know more then. So I'm like, oh, cheeky twist. Pint size, Prixie says, pint size northern lass who is a circus geek. Okay, that's interesting. Is there a way that in that sentence you could get across what that circus geekery actually looks like on stage? Belle says, I don't think it's very good. Well, let's see. But I try to make people laugh by taking my clothes off. So I think that's a good start. There's almost something about the reveal of your body that, provokes humor. Is there a way to explore that? But it's a nice, it's very simple. I make people laugh by taking my clothes off. I mean, that does kind of nail it, It's good. Rebecca, slow and sensual striptease with an unsettling edge. I love it. Because that, again, just makes me want to ask the next question. Well, what do you mean by unsettling? What's the unsettling edge? I want to know more. Hi, I'm Sally Mandarin. I love salamanders and take off my clothes for fun. I mean, that immediately does get across your ethos and your spirit. You're clearly not someone who takes yourself, too seriously. It's more about the journey and the experience for you. I like that. Mina, a fusion of Latin American dances with classic burlesque. Okay, so immediately I get what your angle is. It's burlesque with a Latin American fusion and a Latin American edge. Great. Mary, generally I say, and I have to expand this one without turning the video off. I am a theatre artist. I do everything from set and costume design to teaching to vaudeville performance. Okay, yeah, so I think that's good that you're multifaceted. Maybe there's a way of making that sentence slightly more concise, see if you can condense it. Misty says, fiery mistress of the night whose curves will make your head spin. Oh my God. I love it. That makes me just want to see you immediately. Definitely. Love it, love it, love it. It's immediately very evocative. Livia says, I'm a fearless high-end variety performer fighting racism and showbiz along the way. Perfect. Perfect. Because it says something about, who you actually are and what you do and where you're placed in terms of the scene and where you perform. But there's a message as well. Perfect. Michael says, I usually just say, I'm spooky and I'm a boylesque acrobat. Well, I mean, that does immediately ask a question because some people are going to be like, a boylesque acrobat? Like, what does that look like? So, yeah, that's good. See if there's maybe anything else you could say about, like, your kind of ethos or, your kind of message or your ethic in there. And I think it'd be perfect. Hi to the people just joining. You can, the replay will be up so you can watch everything you've missed. Don't worry. But it's nice to have you. Okay, anyone else? Anyone else will shoot me a well one-liner? Claire, cinema buff and comic nerd in pasties and feathers. Okay, yes. It's getting there. But again, I kind of feel like I just want a little bit more information. Like, cinema buff as in, do you kind of pastiche movies in your acts? In pasties and feathers, I mean, pasties and feathers are sort of quite generic aspects of burlesque in a way. Is there any way you could just, it's great, but just, is there any way you could make it slightly more distinctive and unique? Just to sell yourself that little bit more there. Yeah. But it's getting there. That's good. That's a very good first attempt. Anyone else? Anyone else? Adele says, I just have so many things I involve myself in. Shadow theatre, collaborations with bands, burlesque, various performance. Yeah, I think that's the thing. I talk about, again, in my courses and with my students, I talk about umbrella branding. And I'll try and talk about that at the end a bit more, but, umbrella branding where, we're trying to cover a lot of different aspects. The thing to do is to try and find the overarching philosophy or style or aesthetic that kind of marries all those things together, like a way you approach all of those things that is a common thing that you can kind of get across to people, and also just making sure that, you're catering to the different people following you equally, so that no one kind of feels like, oh god, it's all about like band stuff and I kind of follow her for shadow theatre or whatever, so you might just have a bit more of a challenge creating a balanced program of content. Celeste says, award-winning starlet of timeless tease with a ballet background and entrepreneurial creative director and stylist based in Detroit. Okay, yes, that's quite a long sentence, but yes, it does get it all across. It does get it all across. Maybe there's a way of just making it slightly more succinct, so there's sort of a bit of wordplay there that would just make that a little bit cleaner, but great. Annabelle, not sure how to sell I want to be the woman of your dreams as well as the creature in your nightmares. I love it. Annabelle Lee is the woman of your dreams and the creature in your nightmares. I mean, that's immediately interesting. Immediately interesting. And I'd love to know how you were going to get that across, sort of aesthetically online, for example. It's very interesting. Awesome. Anyone else? Anyone else want to share? Oh, you're welcome, Celeste. You're welcome. Hope it's helpful. Anyone else? Anyone else? Lady Serene, maybe, I hope I'm not murdering your name when I say Cyrene. I hope I'm not murdering it. Classic burlesque artist with a modern day flourish. Nice. Anyone else? I'm loving this. I'm loving the sharing. Just gets me going. I just nerd out over it. I love it. Anyone else? Kira says, I wear my heels high, my lips red, and my music fast and loud, and take my clothes off nice and slow. I'm playing with that. I think that's a great start, Kira. Just keep tweaking it. Keep tweaking it. Mina, most briefly, I'm the educated enthusiast. I mean, that's great. It just immediately evokes, the fact that you're someone who's providing, informational wisdom or documentation of some kind. It just places you immediately with that particular angle. Saren. Oh, I'm sorry. I was really murdering your name there. I was trying to make it sound, like it seemed like that was how it was going to come out. Saren. Okay, got it. That's it. And murdering is done. I won't murder it again. Saren. Got it. All right. So while you're scribbling away, I just want to kind of build on this. So I know that some people, are going to be sat there thinking, God, this is actually quite hard. Or God, I have no idea what people would actually say about me. I've never really thought about that. Or, maybe you're sitting there thinking, well, I'm not really sure who specifically I'm trying to attract here. Or maybe you're thinking, well, I've kind of nailed my keywords, but I'm not really sure how I would go about translating that and communicating that online. Or how I would get that across when I'm actually in person with people. Some of you may be, feeling that, and that's okay. And I've got you on this. If you're wobbly on the things I've just asked you, or you've listened to what I've shared, and you're fired up to learn more and actually put it into practice, I have got you covered, okay? I don't come to the rodeo without a plan, girl, okay? Because next Sunday, so from next Sunday, March 3rd, I start a 6-week burlesque branding course in collaboration with 21st Century Burlesque. And I am looking, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for die-hard students who are committed to standing out and getting sold out and booked out. That is the name of the game with this 6-week course, okay? So I'm just going to give you a little overview of this, and then we're going to get to Q&A, okay? So you get access to a private portal where all course content is going to be released week by week, so you're not going to get overwhelmed with a load of stuff all at once, okay? You get lifetime access to everything. So even if, you have a week where you get a bit busy and you're not quite on top of it, not a problem. You're going to be able to go at your own pace, and you're never going to lose access to it, okay? So it's designed to take you through, step by step and not overwhelm you, but, you can kind of go at it at your own pace. There's also going to be a private Facebook group, a support group, where you can ask questions as you go and share what you're doing with each other. I love to see what you're doing, so I can give you, specific feedback when I'm in the group. I'm active in that group, and I'm on hand to answer questions. So I'm very much there, even though you're kind of working through modules. I am very much there for you. Each week, you get an expert training video from me, kind of like this one. Plus tasks to complete, and you get some sexy workbooks and extra resources along the way as well. So you gradually are going to build up this brand map that you can refer to long term, that you could actually like pin up on the wall and just have to refer to. Okay, all this in-depth work is going to be done and made so clear and simple. You're going to have practical ways of actually creating that content. I'm going to give you ways of creating content way in advance. So you're not sat there every day going, oh my God, I haven't posted today. What am I going to post? I don't know. I'll just put this picture up and I'll just make up a caption. We're going to be way beyond that. You're going to be so organized. You're not going to be spending every day with that stress, with that obligation to be on social media all the damn time, okay? And also, and this is what people, have asked for and get very excited about, this course includes my highly coveted 2-hour, 10-step Instagram masterclass, okay? It is just the be-all and end-all. It's usually a separately priced course, but I'm throwing it into this course as well. So you get my 2-hour Instagram masterclass, and I'm adding on extra stuff about stories as well that's up to date, and up-to-date hashtags as well. You get a whole hashtag cheat sheet with this. Like I said, I got you, okay? Like you also get fill-in templates for contacting producers and venues. I give you that as well. A press kit mock-up, so you can actually make a really nice looking press kit. And you get step-by-step website advice as well. There's a very right way to do websites, and there's a really kind of confusing, off-turning way of doing websites, and I'm going to give you the whole breakdown. I'm a web developer in another life also. So you get all that from me. Okay, so the course investment details. If you pay in full, it is $197 US. If you want to pay in installments, I got you there too. You can pay 2 times $99. You pay one now and one at the end of week 4, okay? Also, here's the bonus for the real hardcores, okay? If you want the course plus a private one-to-one branding consultation with me, that is $249. Okay, so you have 3 options to consider. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a link in the group right now, which will take you to all the info, and it also gives you a chance to hear from previous very happy students of mine who tell you what they enjoyed about the course. I'm going to post it in the comments right now, and I'm going to put it in the group too separately as well. Now, here's my bonus for those who are on live and ready to sign up right now, okay? Anyone who comments live, ! In the comments right now and signs up for the course, you're going to get a complimentary brand audit from me. Okay, what that means is I look at your current online profiles and online presence, and I give you detailed feedback and suggestions about exactly what is not working, what is working, and I take your top main 10 to 12 posts, and I give you detailed feedback specifically on each one about what is and isn't working and what would have made that post better. Okay, you get personal detailed feedback on how to immediately improve. It's a game changer. I've been doing this for a while now, and people are just loving it. So if you comment live, ! Right now, and you actually sign up for the course, you will get that brand audit thrown in. Okay, so that's another extra bonus for you. Now I'm just going to literally dip over here and put the link up so that people can find out more, and then we will get to the Q&A. So just give me 1 second. 1 second. I'm going to put up the link here. There it is. So you should see it in the comments now, and I'll put it up in the group as well. But the link should be there. I think it's just generating now. Should be there. So check it out. You can find out all the info. There's a course curriculum breakdown on there as well, so you can see week by week how it's all structured as well, if features are your jam. But this is a game-changing course. It's really just making performers kick butt and step up, and it's so exciting for me, after these courses are run, to see how people turn it around, and the opportunities that come their way. They get into the festivals they've always been dreaming about, that local producer they've never really been able to tap, that's now booking them regularly. It's just so exciting, and I just love doing it. It's my bread and butter, and I just get such a kick out of it. It's a real high energy course. And the Facebook group is always really active and fun too. Adele says, how long do we have to register for benefit to the live opportunity? Well, Adele, because you're on live right now and you've screamed live at me, I will note that. So obviously the course starts next Sunday, so you have to have signed up by next Sunday because that's when the course actually starts. But you know, as long as you've put live in the comments, I will note that. So when you sign up, I can say, right, okay, as long as you sign up in time, you will get that benefit. All right, guys. Any immediate questions about course stuff? I do encourage you to go and look at that link because a lot of the information is there. But if anyone doesn't have any burning questions right now they want me to clear up, that's fine. And then we'll do a little branding Q&A to finish off. So I'll just give you a sec. I need to breathe. Lots of talking. I'm actually like quite an introverted person. And as an introverted person, I seem to have decided to spend my life talking and training endlessly, which is not really a great choice for I guess I'm like an extroverted introvert, if that's a thing. After I've done this, I'm just going to go hide in a cave with my cat and, you know, not talk to anyone. Recover. I'm loving all the lives. I'm loving all the lives. Yes, you are ready for this, guys. Hardcore committed branders. I'm loving it. It's going to be so awesome, guys. I can't wait. Get started. May, I'm in the process of building a website. So if I do the course, should I put things on hold until that part of the course? It's definitely going to help you. It's definitely going to help you. You know, the main thing I always say to people is that, you know, you want to make life really easy for people. There has to be a certain way that things are presented and laid out, you know, that means that someone in 10 seconds of being on your site, you know, they're going to find what they need. There are things that make that less likely to happen, and there are things that make it way more likely to happen, and that's kind of what I go through. So you might want to sort of get your site set up and maybe sort of draft a few things, or get your materials together, like your, you know, your show reel, your high-res photographs, your, you know, maybe get some act descriptions written for your acts, stuff like that, and then I can help you place it all and put it together. That would be a really good idea, I think. It is a thing. Yeah, it is, Adele, it is a thing. Ruby says, it starts 3rd of March, but can we tap into each weekly course at our own pace? So what I've done, Ruby, is that I've realized that in the past when I've done this and I've just released everything in one go, people tend to get a bit overwhelmed. They don't do things kind of in the right logical order. And they, you know, sometimes they start to get a bit stressed about the course and all the stuff. So what I do is, you know, on the 3rd of March, you'll get the week 1 content. So we'll do week 1 and we'll do that together. Then on week 2, you will, you know, on the next week, you will get the content for that week. And it just kind of paces it. I find it works better for people that way. So that's how I'm doing it. I'm going to be doing it on like a weekly release. It's really manageable, you know, and then hopefully in the group also, it means we're all kind of sharing or asking about the same kind of things. And I just find that works better. May, and yes, extroverted introvert totally is a thing. It totally is. Olivia, does the one-on-one with you have to be about branding? So the particular bonus for this, it is designed to sort of support you in this course. You know, I don't currently have an opening for general kind of long-term one-to-one, but I do intensives and other things, so we can talk about that. But yeah, for this particular bonus, this is a branding one-on-one. So it's for you to, you know, be taking what's happening in the group and then be able to say to me, okay, Holly, can you help me directly practically apply this? Can we come up, generate some particular posts that I'm going to do, you know, really, so I can be really personal and one-to-one with you. So it's really beneficial. You know, I work one-to-one on intensives with people on branding a lot, and it's just game-changing. It just fast forwards and fast tracks that development. You get that personal handhold feedback. Michael, is it designed for male performers as well? Yes. You can totally do it as a male performer. You know, most of the people I work with are female performers, but there's no reason why a male performer cannot get in on the action. Absolutely not. Adele, is there a specific time or can we watch it whenever we can? Yeah. So what I'm going to do is when you sign up, you know, and you've signed up and everything's done, I will add you to the course, okay? And it will, if you look at the page I've linked to, you can see the modules all set out. And you can just click through and you can view the video, you can download the homework sheets, you can download the resources, and you can just do that whenever. So they're not going to be live sessions. I found in the past, I used to do this course where I do a live session every week, and there were always people who couldn't make it at that time, or it kind of put pressure on people. So what I'm doing now is I'm kind of pre-recording the weeks training video, and then people can just watch it whenever they want. They can watch it at 4 o'clock in the morning if they want. They can watch it, at sunrise. They can do whatever they want. They can watch it whenever they've got the time free. And they don't have to feel like they're missing out on a live session, But in the group, in the Facebook group, there will be support from me, and I will be jumping on camera to do some live Q&As and stuff, so it does get fun. So you will get a kind of live element as well. Rebecca, but we don't have to be present at a live chat every week. No, you don't. That's exactly it. You don't have to be present, like, oh my God, I have to be free on Monday at 4 p.m. Or I'm going to miss everything. No, I've changed it deliberately so that people can just view it as and when they want. But the nice thing about doing it kind of week by week is that hopefully at some point during that week, everyone's kind of had time to catch up or ask their question. Question answered. Yeah, she's laughing because I'm answering your question like in super length. It's clearly not necessary. Hashtag introvert, extrovert. Look at how long will the course information be available for us after release? Longer than a week? Yeah, it just stays up. You have absolute permanent lifetime access to it. Once it's all there, it is all there for good. You can refer to it anytime you want. And what I will be doing over time is updating content. And this is the great thing about it, right? So if in a year's time, there have been updates to social media, or there have been developments, or there are better things I have to tell you about that are working really well, I will add that to the course. So this is the great thing. Once you're signed up to the course, no matter, what happens to the structure or there's a price change or anything else, no, you're in. You're in, and whatever other developments or resources I create over time, or any other things I want to add to that course, I'm just going to add it, and you get it. You just get it forever and ever and ever, as long as you're interested in branding. Okay? Yeah. Oh, no, I laughed because you answered my question when you answered Adele. Oh, yeah, and then I answered it again. Well, customer service, man. I wanted to give you your own answer. Raven, woohoo! Yay. Mary, okay, do you have advice for someone who's built a career and following, but just moved to a new place and has to start over to a degree? Yeah, so for you, it's going to really be about getting out there. And sometimes it's, it's a bit daunting when you've moved to a new place, but I would get out to the local shows. I would be sticking around after those shows, introducing yourself in a kind of non-obtrusive way, or following up on social media or via email afterwards, just to tell them, I came down to the show, I really enjoyed it, I particularly enjoyed this aspect about the show, and I would love to talk to you further about maybe becoming involved, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're initially going to become involved as a performer. There might be another way you lend a hand to that show to make yourself invaluable. You need to kind of think outside the box a little bit when you're building local connections. The immediate thing might not be that you get booked in a show, but you might be able to lend support to that show in another way that's going to make them really look on you favorably. But the best way when you move somewhere new is just to get out there locally. Look for kind of local online groups on Facebook. There are a lot of kind of online regional groups that you can join. Start to use hashtag specific things. So, there are things like Nightlife Texas, Burlesque Texas. I'm using Texas as an example. But try and get kind of hashtag specific when you're posting. It's really just about, kind of swallowing the, oh God, I'm in a new place and I don't know anyone. Oh God, hide in a cave, getting past that, and taking the leap and just getting out there, being friendly, being personable, offering to help, showing support, maybe even just, start promoting these local shows online. So, tell people, oh my God, I went to this amazing show locally and it was so great. The performers were awesome. This was great. They really look after you. I mean, they're going to notice that. If there's a local show or a local producer and you are doing them a favor like that online, they are going to notice you and appreciate you. Does that make sense? Belle says, I have really lost momentum over the last year or two and have been dreadful with social media. I rarely post and stay off social media most of the time because I find it too anxiety inducing. I really want to change this, but obviously I'm starting from a less than ideal place. Do you think this course is right for me, or do you offer others which may be better suited to me? I think this is perfect for you. I think this is absolutely perfect for you. Because we're going to be going through things in a very gradual way. We're going to start with the real basics, like a basic refresher, so you kind of have a place to stand, and then we're going to sort of dive deeper, so it gets more progressively kind of detailed. It's great for people who just want to kind of rejudge everything. They've kind of hit a plateau and they've lost sight of who they are, and it's great for people like you who, almost feel like they're starting from the beginning again, in a way. It's going to be perfect for you. And I'm also going to be teaching you a lot of ways to spend less time on social media. It sounds weird, like I'm teaching you how to do things well on social media, and at the same time I'm going to be teaching you like how to spend less time on it, or at least spend less time but in a really focused way. There are ways that are going to make your life far less angst-inducing. And I will teach you how to do that. So I would love to have you on board. It's going to help you immeasurably. Hi, Jolie. Jolie Papillon's just joined us. We're kind of at the end Q&A stage now, Jolie, but, you know, it'll be up soon so you can watch the playback. But it's nice to have you. Any branding questions you have, do shoot them. Oh, Celeste, I got a live from Celeste. Yay! You're all getting the bonus. All getting the bonus when you sign up. I'm very excited. Very excited. Anyone else? Any other branding questions? Doesn't have to be about the course. It can be about branding in general. Any questions? Stationery advice, even. You know, cat grooming tips. I'm here. I'm committed. Sounds terrific. Good. Okay, Belle, I'm glad that makes sense to you. You can always like DM me if you have any other questions, or, you know, check out the page because that gives you the breakdown. Check out the page I linked to. I'll put it up in the group on a separate link as well to make it easier. Oh, I'm getting hearts. Yay. I'm glad people are enjoying it. And you've all stayed on. I'm so impressed. Rebecca, any quick advice for those of us who are suffering from being a bit too niche? Okay, that's an interesting one. So when you say too niche, what do you consider this tight niche to be? Give me a little bit more information. Raven, what about having your own video channel of acts? What I would be tempted to say is that there are, you know, key kind of channels where people tend to be, and I think if you're asking them to do too many things, like take them away from something they're comfortable using and off to something else, unless there's something really valuable for them there, I would suggest that you start to integrate that into your current channel. So if you're currently on Instagram, I would select and cut out some really great samples or just little extracts from some of your acts that are really killer, and thread them through your current social media channels. There's arguments about whether you should show a whole act or not reveal the kind of giveaway. You do have to create a balance between, well, I want fans to actually come and see the show, and if I show them the whole act, you know, I mean, if it's an amazing act, they might come anyway, but do you want to kind of give it all away? A lot of people keep their full-length videos back for, say, their website or a section where they're going to send producers, because producers do want to see the whole deal. They want to know exactly what they're getting. But I would be tempted to sort of stick with what currently works and where people currently are. Felicia, live, thanks for inspiring talk. We'll see if I can take the course. Awesome, yay. Mary, some people have very polarizing opinions about merch, like stickers and magnets. Are you on the yes or no side of that? I think it depends what your motivation is, really, Mary. If you're thinking to yourself, I want to make money, if that's your motivation, there are better ways to make money. Like, if you were going to make money through that, it would just be mass selling, you know, to make any kind of real income from that. On the other hand, if it's something you want to do to encourage a kind of fan community, like they can all walk around going, I've got the pin as well, like I've got the pin, we're super fans, you know, and kind of cultivate that, then it can be a really nice thing to do. But again, branding's important. It needs to be something kind of distinctive and nicely put together. It needs to be a quality product. Hang on. Ooh, I'm getting some questions quite quickly here. Mina, I'm branding myself as a fusion performer because I have many years of experience in salsa. I have a new act idea which is very different and not related to salsa at all. How can I handle this from a branding perspective since it's not on brand? Well, again, it's like I said before, you need to kind of find the common things about you that apply to this as well. What is it about you as a performer, the kind of essence or the spirit of the way you perform, or your overall kind of message or your overall ethic or ethos that you can apply to this new act so that it seems like a natural progression? You know, it's almost like, you know, Michelle Lamore, who doesn't, right? She's the most naked woman, okay? And she has done every act from like a glorious Sally Rand dream, you know, with her beautiful Sally Rand fans, and you're just, I feel like a 5-year-old just with my mouth open watching that. And then on the other hand, she's a panther in a cage, you know, with this claw merkin, and it's like, rah, okay? But at the same time, it's all under this fearless, most naked woman kind of motif, and it all just works together because she has that iconic aesthetic, you know? So you need to kind of find a way like that kind of unites it under your brand, if that makes sense. You're welcome, Raven. My acts are very slow. Rebecca says, my acts are very slow and seem very low energy, and I use unusual themes and soundtracks. I'm finding it difficult to catch people's attention with them, and I'm not sure if it's the acts themselves or something else. So it might be, and obviously I haven't seen you perform, so I don't know, but it might be about, you know, we had a friend in this chat earlier on who said she's very much about presence and stillness. It might be that you want to play with, you know, real power of stillness in your acts. Like taking moments to just power pose, take the audience in, let them drink you in and give them that time. You know, just that stillness is very powerful. It might be that you play with aesthetic motifs. There might be really beautiful reveals or shapes or things that you create in your acts that just mesmerize people, you know. It's something to think about. There are different ways to kind of do that. You know, but it's hard to know because I haven't seen you perform. I mean, you can shoot me a video if you want. If you want to shoot me a video via DM, I'm happy to like narrow it down. It'll be really easy for me to say which it is. So feel free. Kira, for branding, I know we're supposed to be, I know we're supposed to be likable and inviting. Is there a way to brand successfully yet be able to keep a distance? I'm an awkward, shy person and I don't know how to relate socially. Yeah, so, you know, it's not going to be that everyone is going to be this massive oversharer who's really kind of behind the scenes and effusive all the time. For you, it's probably going to be a bit more subtle. You know, you maybe want to make it that when you do divulge something personal or vulnerable, it's a real event in your marketing. You know, it's like an event in your marketing. It's just a moment of kind of surprise, and people value that intimacy all the more because of that. The other thing to do is just to kind of really schedule a lot of your stuff in advance and kind of, you know, follow a plan that makes it easier. Just think about the boxes you're ticking with each post. You know, is it on brand without you having to kind of be really involved in what you're doing all the time? It might be that you're someone who kind of batches or schedules in advance more. You know, there are ways of kind of playing with being aloof and unavailable that's very appealing in the same way. You know, and sometimes that requires slightly more poetic copy, you know, or maybe there are certain things that you're more comfortable talking about that you can maximize on. So maybe you need to kind of go and have a bit of a brainstorm and think to yourself, you know, what do I kind of stand for? What are the issues that interest me? You know, that I could write about in advance, so I'm not pressured at the very moment I'm thinking, oh God, I have to post something, but I feel ick about it. Or, you know, you need to give yourself more time to plan in advance. I would spend like a Sunday afternoon just brainstorming a few topics you like to talk about, and then just writing freely, without pressure, without, oh my God, I have to post this in 5 minutes. Just let yourself just write, you know, whether you write by hand with a pen, sometimes people write more fluidly that way, or you type, just for yourself. Just try typing out some of your ideas, some of your thoughts, issues that are important to you in the scene, or, you know, sort of things that matter to you that you want to communicate, and just without any pressure, just free write about some of those things. And you will find then that suitable posts emerge from that. And you can then schedule them in advance and just let them run, and then you're not like immediately attached to doing it. Does that make sense? If that's kind of doesn't quite make sense, let me know, because maybe that's a bit abstract. Rebecca, my acts are very slow and I seem very low. Oh yeah, I think I've read that one. Yep. Mary, I mostly give away stickers and magnets to producers, venues, hosts when I'm touring. Yeah, that could be a nice thing to do in place of a business card, although I find you need to think about what happens next, Mary. So if you give them that sticker, what are they going to do with it? You know, if you give them that magnet, what are they going to do with it? With a magnet, yeah, maybe they'll stick it on their fridge actually, and they're going to see it every time they go to get some milk. You know, with a sticker, are they going to have somewhere to stick that straight away that they want to put it? Are they going to just close it in a notebook or a wallet and kind of forget about it? You know, think about what you want them to do with that. You know, would just a very nicely designed business card be a better option? Would it be better to follow up by email with something they can actually go and look at? You know, have a think about, you know, what's actually going to be done with that thing once you've given it out. Rebecca, will do, love it. Kira, I love you, that makes so much sense. Yay, Kira. I'm glad it makes sense. Yay, yay, yay. Any other questions? I realise I've been on for almost an hour and a half now, guys. So, you know, anyone who has to go, that's fine. But if any other questions, feel free to shoot me them. I'm here for the next 10 minutes. Oh, it's been such a good class. I'm loving it. I'm loving your energy. Just keeps me going. Hashtag introvert extrovert. Anything else? Anything about the course? Anything about branding in general? I would say, guys, that if you feel like you don't want to ask your question in front of all these people, do feel free to just shoot me a DM or anything you want, and I'm happy to get back to you. Mate, I'm at my day job in Sydney now, so I better go do my job. Yeah, I guess you had me. Boo. But thank you for joining us in Australia as well. That's early morning commitment. I'm impressed. Awesome, awesome. Anything else, guys? So much content. This was amazing. Thank you. You're welcome, Laurie. Watching you on the train. Oh, my God. I'm on the commute. Wow, I feel part of this. Celeste, I manage multiple social media accounts in my normal life, so I feel burned out by the time it comes to breast branding. Any quick advice? Again, the planning in advance. I really encourage people, a general practice is, whatever day it is, like a Sunday afternoon, where you actually just brainstorm, plan out your stuff for the week. Okay, just stay detached from it. Think about those branding keywords. What do I need to communicate through to my post this week? What story do I need to tell? What message do I get across? What action do I want people to take this week? Like, it might be because there's a particular show coming up, or you're selling a class, or whatever it is you're doing. Think about the purpose of the week, and then plan out for yourself what you're going to post each day, or however regularly you've got the plan, okay? And then just schedule it all in advance. There are lots of scheduling tools and programs that I talk about in the course, but I personally use Planoly. Planoly is a game changer. And then it's not like a daily thing you have to get around to doing, Sally, thanks for the great exercises. Have a great day. You're welcome. Adele, frustrated about the need to be a good video maker and marketing manager to be considered as a good performer. I know that you get the sense that that's the case, but it really doesn't have to be that way. I film pretty much everything I do with my iPhone. I buy a ring light for my house so I can take really nice high quality selfies when I want to just give a kind of personal behind the scenes look at what I'm doing. The other thing you can do, which is quite handy, is if you have a street photographer, a street style photographer locally, who can just go around with you for quite a kind of lower fee, and just take some really nice sort of high quality shots of you out and about. That's another really good way of generating content. What else? And then again, just be proactive about what's being recorded at actual shows, making sure that you've built a relationship. Maybe before the show, go up to the guy taking the photos or recording the video, and say hi to him or her, and sort of build a little connection relationship, and then you're more likely to get cooperative, help with the material that they create. Michael, you're welcome. How often do you think we need to post? I mean, there's no fixed rule to this. But I would say if you're trying to really accelerate your brand, you want to be posting every day, at least once a day. And if it's not something you can commit to, just have like key days when you do something. Have something like a Tease Tip Tuesday, or a Wisdom Wednesday, or a Flash Friday, or whatever the hell it is. Just try and build some consistent events so that even if you're not in someone's feed every day, there are kind of specific things they can look out for and anticipate. So you can kind of build a memorable presence. But ideally, at this point, when you're really trying to accelerate your brand, you want to be posting at least once a day. And if you need to schedule in advance, by all means do it. You don't have to be there every day thinking, oh, I need to post 3 times today. Oh my God. I've got a minute now, so I'll just throw something up. That's what we want to get away from. We want to get into kind of organized posting, intentional, conscious posting. Adele, what is the best time to post? Again, I find that depends. It changes. If I'm in the States working, it tends to be different times. If I'm in the UK here, it tends to be different. But think about the times when people are using social media the most, right? When I get up in the morning, I check my feed. When I get a minute, sort of at lunchtime or for a tea break, sort of mid-morning, I check my feed. I find personally the good times for me tend to be just before the real lunchtime rush. So if I post at like 12, before people really start hitting out at like 1, that's a good time. Around 4 or 5, between 4 and 6 in the afternoon/evening is another good time. And then I find also that, because I have a profile as an artist as well on Instagram, and I have a very global audience for that. So I find that also posting around the midnight 1 a.m. mark is actually quite a good time, because I pick up some people on a slightly different time zone. But what I would say to you is take control of this for yourself. Experiment with different things. Okay, if you have a business account and other kind of tracking things, it will tell you when your posts are doing the best. So just try for a week posting at a certain time each day, see what the engagement's like. Then the next week, try posting at a different time of day, see what the engagement's like. Or, if you're posting like twice a day, try posting one at one time and one at the other end of the day, and see which ones perform better. You do just have to kind of get stuck in and do a bit of your own metrics and experimentation, because different things are going to work for different audiences. depending on when they tend to be around, when they get up, when they work. You know your audience best, so just, I encourage you to experiment, but that's what generally works for me. Time for day posting. When is it best to put up things regarding your brand or upcoming shows? Upcoming shows, like with anything, you don't want to just do like one post and forget about it. You've got to remember that not everyone is going to see everything you post. You want to give people enough opportunities and enough notice. So if I had a show coming up, I would kind of build up to it over the month or a few weeks beforehand, and just have different aspects about that show broken down. If there are particular interesting stories about the performers in it, if there are any unique things happening in it, if I have a collection of testimonials from people who've been to the show before and loved it, I would have all these things ready to go so that every week I can regularly post out a different aspect of the show that makes it unmissable. And just kind of structure it out so that people have time to make a plan for it in their calendar, make sure they can actually do it, remember to actually buy the ticket. So you want to kind of be there regularly, just nudging that process, nudging that action, for sure. It doesn't really ever work when there's a couple of days to go and people go, oh my God, come to my show. It's kind of, you want to give people a bit of a lead up. You want to be organized and have, a strategy planned out. Manic Monday. Yes. Lindsay, I always have difficulty as a variety act. I sing and play ukulele, and I've gotten feedback that producers are only looking for peelers and that what I do isn't burlesque. Marketing is tricky because I encounter that thought more often than you would think. So again, this is going to be about, there's a kind of balance between taking more time to actually find the producers or the venues or events that are looking more for kind of variety acts, and actually doing a bit more work to find them, and if necessary constructing a tour to access them, but also implanting the right things in producers' minds. Sometimes we have to be a bit more persuasive. Sometimes on initial impression they're going to go, no, I don't want that in my show. But there's no reason why you can't continue to build a relationship and show aspects of how professional you are, what you add to a show, the fact that you promote and support the shows that you're in, that you're a team player, that you do all these other things. If you're kind of showing what a well-rounded performer you are and what a worthwhile performer you are to have around, you can start to influence the decisions they're making. You never know. There might be a point where they've got a performer who's really not doing such a great job of putting themselves across, and they don't want to work with that performer anymore, and they're in a bind and they need another act, and then you come to mind because all this time you've been showing them what a personable, professional performer you are, the way you conduct yourself, the way you market yourself, the way you promote and support the shows that you work with. All of that can come into play, so don't give up, but also try and spread your net a little wider. Look for more of the variety-based or alternative kind of clubs or venues or shows that you could be a fit for. But that would be my general advice. The game's never quite over. I mean, obviously there's a limit. If you're a performer who's sort of covered head to foot in tattoos and you drive spikes through your skin, or you sort of paint yourself blue and stuff, whatever. I mean, I'm just being silly. But you're probably not going to be right for a kind of high-end supper club, perhaps. But that doesn't mean you should give up. It doesn't mean that that's kind of, completely closed off to you, but it does make more sense to concentrate on the places where you are welcome. Lindsay, thank you so much. That's incredibly helpful. You're welcome. Okay, last questions, guys. Last questions. And then I have to go look after my cat because she's glaring at me evilly like I'm a neglectful, horrible mother. Anything else? But do shoot me a DM, afterwards, or if there's anything on the page that I've put up about the course that you want to know, I am available afterwards. And this will go up in the group so you can watch it back. Anything else, guys? Anything else? Thanks so much. Look forward to talking in the future. You're welcome. You're welcome. Rebecca, you're welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being so generous with your time, Holly Mae. This has been really interesting and enjoyable. Oh, I'm so glad, Belle. Have a great day. All right, well, I think I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. It's been awesome chatting to you. I will put the link up to the course in the group for anyone who's kind of lost it in the comments. And I look forward to working with many of you, I hope, on the course when we start next Sunday. Any other questions, just drop me a line. I'm very available. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a great day, great week, great life. Bye.